Jamie Dimon said about Bitcoin, again, he's like, it has no intrinsic value. It could go to zero. And he said this like about 4 or 5 days ago. And I think it increases the bullish case for Bitcoin because he doesn't understand it. And again, intrinsic value is kind of funny being a fundamental guy. If you really focus on intrinsic value, you would have never had, I wouldn't say you would have never had a big winner, but you would have never had like Microsoft, any of the massive technology companies, whatever you use discounted cash flow analysis, present value, future cash flows. It's trying to provide, a valuation using numbers. So it's a fundamental way to calculate the valuation of an asset. But if you're looking at that definition of intrinsic value, so that means gold has no intrinsic value. That means art, collectibles, they don't have intrinsic value. But they have incredible value. I mean, you're looking at Bitcoin is the psychology behind it, where this is people don't trust central governments, and it's getting worse. And the younger generation is growing up you're looking millennials, you're looking at Gen Z, you're looking at all these groups. It's getting worse and worse. We're even seeing it on this scale where how did you go from $1 trillion to $3.5 trillion? They're just throwing trillions out there. And now, over 30 trillion worldwide has been spent. And yet you're still keeping interest rates low across the board, even though we have GDP near record highs, we have earnings at record highs, we have home prices at record highs, and we had stocks at record highs up to like 2 weeks ago. Well, maybe 3 weeks ago, a little before December. And you still like pedal to the metal, right? So for me, the fact that he doesn't understand that, and that's what he's valuing it at, and he's not valuing it as something that's incredibly, incredibly valuable to so many people. I got an email from a very good source, and he made a lot of sense. And he said, why is China cracking down on Bitcoin? And they keep announcing the same thing. We're really cracking down. We're really cracking down. I mean, next week they're going to announce that they're banning Bitcoin, which is going to be the 6th time they're banning it this year.
Yeah.
Why? And this is a good theory, not mine, his theory. But when you have the Evergrande situation, which has rippled through that entire real estate, which has rippled through a ton GDP, their economy, when the shit hits the fan, there's a lot of people that are going to want to get that money out. Mm-hmm. And if you close that market, there's no way you can get that money out. But because why are they, like, just the timing of it, and it made sense to me, whatever, you could think of whatever you want, but why do they keep announcing the same news? Just to see the hits that Bitcoin's taking and where it is today, guys, it's at 54,000 now. I mean, our crypto intelligence portfolio is absolutely amazing. I'm so glad for the people that subscribe to that. They're doing very, very good. Lots of great names in it, but crypto is here to stay. Security tokens, NFTs, not all NFTs. A lot of people think it's bullshit because you see these stupid little digital things, but you know what? I'd want to buy something that's original digitally that's from Tom Brady, Michael Jordan. That's value. I think that's incredibly valuable. So there is a good market. That market's starting to explode. DeFi is already big, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Just improving on smart contracts. I mean, the technology behind everything that's going on in crypto, there's some amazing companies, and I just feel like still Wall Street's so behind the curve. And when I see Jamie Dimon, who's a bank guy, again, we're talking about intrinsic value, one of the most powerful people in banking, CEO of the largest bank in the world, the fact that he still doesn't get this. And 55% of the banks are now in it. U.S. Bank just said they're going in it. U.S. Bank has $7 trillion in assets. They're the fifth largest in the world. So they're going to take custody now, for Bitcoin for clients. Their clients want it. This is here. This is a trend you really need to get into. But the whole intrinsic value on it, instead of being like, wow, Jamie Dimon said this, to me, it strengthens the bullish case because you really don't understand why people are buying this. It's much more important than intrinsic value. And it's incredibly valuable to move your money different places, to keep it safe, and to avoid a lot of the stuff that, in fiat currencies, where you're just going to continue to print money, which we see. If they're still printing money now with everything at record highs and interest rates, they're going to. When is it going to stop? You're not going to see it stop, and that strengthens the case for Bitcoin.
Absolutely. I don't understand the severe of it's either worthless or
exactly.
it's it's invaluable. It's so great. I get the argument, same way with gold. Hey, I believe Warren Buffett made it very popular. Gold doesn't pay you a dividend. It doesn't do anything. It's just a shiny metal that you dig a hole in and put in. That's not false. It doesn't pay a dividend. If you have gold in your backyard, that's great. But to go as far as say that that's worthless when you have, as long as humans have been around in financial records, which is about 5,000 to 6,000 years, it does hold value. Mm-hmm. Now, you can argue what that value should be. You could say it's overpriced. You could say it's undervalued. But just to say that it has zero value is ridiculous because you're just ignoring human nature and reality right in front of you. So is Bitcoin overvalued at 54? I don't think so. But if you think so, that's okay. But it's certainly not going to zero anytime soon because you have so many people. Bitcoin is more of a vote against central banking and authoritarianism and just total control of everybody. It's just a freedom cry on a financial. It's people voting with their wallet to a certain extent. And it's also people taking risk reward and saying, hey, this is speculative and I could make a ton of money. That's all fine. It's not a big deal. And it did, I have to say, Frank, I have to give a little credit where credit is due. We had Jay Powell out of the Fed chairman and Gensler or whatever for the SEC, both at least came out and said that they weren't going to ban crypto like China did.
That's when you saw the takeoff.
And that also helped momentum because that is a worry. They can do that, just like Ray Dalio, the billionaire hedge fund manager, has warned that is a possibility. Mm-hmm. Remember, if they can shut down the entire freaking economy, they can do anything. So don't.
Yeah, it's a risk.
Exactly.
You can't sit here and say there's no. But it's
Absolutely.
intertwined with so many different banks and everything that
just because it's a percentage risk doesn't mean it's a high percentage. Yes, it's a risk, but is it a risk to keep you on the sidelines or keep you from taking action or gaining exposure to this sector? I don't believe so. So keep that in mind. So Bitcoin is just a vote of confidence and freedom more than it is, and a lack of trust in central banks because of what you're talking about printing endlessly. So
yeah, and guys, look, you have a limited supply, and you have almost like a cult-like following that's not going to sell, that wants to hold this. And I've talked to some of these people, and they are holding. They are holding. They don't care if it goes down to 25,000, 17,000. If it goes to 80,000, they hold, right? So now you have that cult following that was in early, and what do we have going on today? Is institutions are going all in. And that's where the big money comes in, where the billions of dollars gets invested in this. And that's why you're seeing the Silvergate, a major player now. You're seeing Galaxy. I mean, these are stocks that you could buy. These guys, I mean, just look at their numbers and how they're growing tremendously. Even the miners, if you're looking at Riot or you're looking at Marathon, I mean, now that China's basically shut down, I mean, the margins, the estimates that are being raised, they're being, like, EBITDA is being almost doubled from the previous estimates a couple of months ago. That's how much these guys are growing, because not only are they, just mining for Bitcoin, now they're keeping the Bitcoin on the balance sheets and Bitcoin's going higher. So you look at, there's a lot of stock plays, there's more and more coming out. Again, the institutions are here. You're going to see ETFs pretty soon, I believe so. But it's still early in this trend.